برنامه نان گل سرخ رو نگاه میکنید، مجله اجتماعی سیاسی که به زبانهای انگلیسی و فارسی روی کانال جدید پخش میشه. سلام به همگی، من مریم نمازی هم. متاسفانه این هفته فریبرز پویا امکان در شرکت بر برنامه ما نداره، اما در این هفته دوست دارم باهاتون در رابطه با مسابقه جهانی شطرنج زنان که قرار سال دیگه در ایران برگزار بشه و اسکاندال در مورد حجاب زنان شرکت کننده، در ضمن در رابطه با فیلم جدیدی در مورد بیخدایان اسلام، فتوای احمقانمون در رابطه با همسایه های شیطون و لحظه زیبای زندگیمون در مورد زنان و دوچرخه سواری در ایران. در ضمن مصاحبه داریم با گودارد از مرکز آزاداندیشی در آمریکا. با ما باشید. دو اخبار مهمه که دوست دارم باتون اینجا در میون بذارم. یکیشون در رابطه با مسابقه جهانی شطرنج که مال زنان که قرار سال آینده در ایران برگزار بشه و بحث حول و حوش این مسئله این بوده که زنانی که در این مسابقه قرار شرکت کنن خب باید همه حجاب اجباری رو رعایت کنن و خود فدراسیون شطرنج گفته که این تفاوت‌های فرهنگی رو باید بهش احترام گذاشت و قوانین رو باید رعایت کرد. و خب خیلی ها هستن که دارن میگن حاضر نیستن این قوانین رو رعایت کنن و خب مشخصا هم فعالین حقوق زن در ایران و خارج از ایران هستن که به طور واضح گفتن که حجاب اجباری یه چیزی که برای سالها زنان در ایران دارن علیهش مبارزه میکنن و به هیچ وجه یک مسئله فرهنگی نیست. فرهنگ جمهوری اسلامی علیه فرهنگ آزادی خواهی مردم و زنان در ایرانه و باید از زنانی که نمیخوان حجاب به سر کنن و حمایت کنیم و در ضمن روی فدراسیون شطرنج فشار بیاریم که به هیچ وجه نباید حجاب اجباری رو بر زنان تحت هیچ عنوانی اعمال کنه و تحمیل کنه. در ضمن یه خبر جالب دیگه این است که دیاخان که یک فیلمسازی که چندین جایزه برده، ایشون یه فیلمی تهیه کردن در رابطه با خدا ناباوران اسلام و اکس موسلیمای اسلام که قرار هفته آینده روی تلویزیون ITV در انگلیس پخش بشه و این فیلم بسیار جالبیه به خاطر اینکه هم در مورد وضعیت واقعا ناراحت کننده و اسفناک کسایی که آتیستن در خانواده‌های مسلمان، اذیت و آزارهایی که میبینن، خشونت‌هایی که علیهشون اعمال میشه و در ضمن مشکلاتی که این عده جوانای زیادی دارن صحبت میکنه. در ضمن رابطه بین اسلام سیاسی در خود انگلیس و اروپا با اسلام سیاسی در سطح جهان رو نشون میده، رابطه هاشو و این شبکه هایی که چه خارج از انگلیس و چه در خود انگلیس دارن کسایی که اسلام رو ترک کردن رو تهدید میکنن و تبعیض علیهشون قائل میشن. و خب یه بخش مهم این فیلم هم اینه که نشون میده که واقعا این تعداد کسایی که آتیستن در جوامعی که اسلامی محسوب میشه یا تو خود اروپا از خانواده‌های مسلمون به اصطلاح میان، تعداد خیلی وسیعه، واقعا تعداد میلیونیه و یه توجهی میاره روی مسئله‌ای که کمتر بهش توجه میشه. ما سعی میکنیم یه بخشی از این فیلم رو در هفته‌های آینده براتون نشون بدیم و پخش کنیم. با ما باشید. هفته پیش در کنفرانسی در آمریکا شرکت کردم و تونستم با یکی از سازماندهندگان این کنفرانس گودارد از مرکز آزاداندیشان صحبت کنم. با ما باشید تا ببینید دبی در رابطه با این کنفرانس و اهمیت سکولارسم برای زنان چی گفته. Debbie Goddard, great to have you on our program. You've organized a Women in Secularism conference that went brilliantly. Tell us why you did that.
Well, this was the fourth in a series. I wasn't the lead organizer on the first three, but it was considered important to continue because the issues obviously haven't gone away. So with this specific conference, we decided to address issues like free expression. That was actually a big one this time. International Blasphemy Rights Day is coming up next week, September 30th. Obviously there's been a lot of attention focused on free expression issues, not just in countries where there are a large problem like Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, other places, but also on university campuses to be able to bring to often Western spaces the difficult issues that are happening in other places and to be able to critique and criticize them. And so we wanted to have that focus, also to show who's on the front lines of some of the difficult battles around the world. And I'm very glad that we were able to bring in so many women who are activists from different places. But yeah, the point is that people are doing amazing things. There are issues both within our community and outside. A lot of the people on the front lines are women. They don't always get the space to present, and we don't always have the space given to have women talk about issues that affect women. And when women aren't at the front talking about these things, sometimes we don't see them. So it was decided to do it again. I was really glad that I could be such a large part of bringing people together for this.
Why is, why the link between women and secularism? What's so key there?
Well, a big reason is that religion often harms women most. And we heard a lot of that this weekend, including from yourself particularly, from Gullah Ismail in Pakistan, that often when countries and cultures become more conservative, it's women's rights that are taken away. It's women's freedoms that are reduced. Women's voices that are silenced. So why that is? Because men have power, because men are the leaders, because when morality, which is certain kinds of morality which are tied to conservatism, increase, then it's women who need to be hidden away and silenced, because women end up being the radicals, because women's sexuality is seen as dirty and immoral and it needs to be put away and they need to be hidden. All of these things are connected. And so of course women in secularism. Who is harmed most and who needs to be fighting? Who is at risk most when they fight? Who doesn't have the freedom to be necessarily on the front lines without the blowback and pain and possibly being murdered? And it's women.
And why is there this need to make women's voices more visible? Why is it so important?
That's a good question. But again, I think women aren't always in the spaces where people are interested in these issues. That's, I think, for historical and cultural reasons. Who runs universities? Who has access to wealth? Who runs media? One of the great presentations this conference was about who owns media companies like Facebook or Twitter, and therefore what rules do they put in place about what's censored and what's not censored, what's inappropriate and what's appropriate. And so if we want to make sure, if we just let that be, these structures exist that put an undue burden on women and keep them from speaking. And so efforts like this are to lift up women's voices. Even within the secular and atheist community, we've had a long history of seeing conferences where the overwhelming majority of speakers were men. Often I think, particularly in the US where I have most experience attending conferences for the last 15 years, it's because we've highlighted philosophers, we've highlighted scientists, we've highlighted best-selling authors. If we draw from those fields, we will see men, because that's who has best-selling books. That's who goes into philosophy, particularly philosophy of science. That's who becomes a scientist. Not just because women aren't interested in science, but because it's harder for women to get into science for many, many structural reasons. When we draw from activism, when we draw from people interested in education, all of a sudden we have many women to draw from. And so a conference like this where we are pulling particularly from activists, from psychology, from the philosophy of education, it's not hard to find women. When we think about leadership, not just in sense of who has written books that have a lot of, who get on the New York Times bestseller list, but instead like who has an impact in different kinds of ways, then we see all of these women. So we get to put them on stage at things like this and focus on why they might not have a voice in other spaces.
And this, the stress on, not the stress, what's the word, the focus. And the conference's focus on secularism as well, so one aspect of it is women, but it shows that secularism is important for women. Why do you think that's the case?
Because if women want to be free, then we have to challenge the religious rules and the ties between religion and government that can silence us. That includes Sharia law. Obviously, there's also a link between issues that affect women most. So one of the topics that came up multiple times in this was abortion. Katha Pollitt, who wrote the book Pro, Reclaiming Abortion Rights, spoke on Sunday. A lot of the people who are pro-life in the United States are men. A lot of the people who are pro-choice are women. Why are people pro-life? It's because of religion. So if we want women to have the freedom to determine what to do with their bodies, to not be policed by the government, then we need to challenge religion. These are some of the reasons why secularism is important. Without it, women die, and women aren't free.
And CFI is the organizer behind this conference, the Center for Inquiry. Tell us a bit about what are some of the main projects that the organization is working on, what its aims are.
Man, CFI is big and multi-armed. What of the 500 projects do we focus on? Well, we have the educational arm, so we publish 2 magazines, one focused on science and skepticism, another focused on atheism, secularism, and humanism. We also have advocacy efforts. We have an Office of Public Policy in Washington, D.C., based in D.C. Our Office of Public Policy director, Michael Dodora, actually has an international focus, which I find is very unusual for American-based secular organizations. But he goes to Geneva for UN events. He supports activists in places like Bangladesh. With International Blasphemy Rights Day coming up next week, we're doing another effort to raise money for our Free Thought Emergency Fund to help get people who are threatened in places like Bangladesh, secular activists, secular bloggers, to safe places and to support their families as well. I work with community groups and campus groups, so trying to help build communities for non-religious people to help advance science on the ground, but also to have grassroots efforts that we can support that can be mobilized to engage in advocacy where they are. So it's not just a national level or international effort, but that people can be involved in Michigan or Los Angeles or even in Kenya, where we have 4 campus groups, or Brazil. So we have right now about 300 campus affiliates. I'm also the director of African Americans for Humanism. We have about 28 affiliated groups. That's a very uphill effort here, as well as 15 branches in the US, another 17 international. So the community is the last part of what we do. Also, there are education centers. Community, education, advocacy are the 3 prongs of how we function.
Okay, thank you very much, David.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
امیدوارم از صحبت‌های دبی گودارد خوشتون اومده باشه. به نظرم مسائل مهم رو مطرح میکنه. چیزی که برای من خیلی مهمه رابطه حقوق زنان و سکولاریسم و واقعیت اینی که جامعه‌ای که مذهب درش نقش داره مشخصاً هر چقدر نقش داشته باشه تا اون حد و حدود زنان حق و حقوقشون نقض میشه. و خب مشخصاً وقتی نگاه میکنیم به جوامع و دولت‌های اسلامی میبینیم یا مذهبی میبینیم که بیشترین نقض حقوق زنان در این نوع جوامع صورت میگیره. مشخصه که نقض حقوق زنان، خشونت علیه زنان فقط به خاطر مذهب نیست، بلکه خب به خصوص به خاطر یه سیستمیه که سود و قبل از نیاز و خواست انسان ها میذاره. ولی در این حال مذهب نقش مهمی بازی میکنه در پیشبرد نقض حقوق زن و در نهادینه کردن ضدیت با زن. سکولاریسم مشخصاً همه مشکلات دنیا رو حل نخواهد کرد، ولی خب یک پیش شرط کوچیکیه و مهمیه برای برابری زن و مرد و برای از بین بردن تبعیض علیه زنان. امیدوارم از برنامه این هفته خوشتون اومده باشه. واقعا خیلی برای من عجیب بود که بدون فریبرز و پویا برنامه رو اجرا کنم. امیدوارم هفته آینده اینجا باشه که یه خورده کار من راحت‌تر باشه. به هر حال دوست دارم با لحظه زیبای زندگی این هفته تموم کنم برنامه رو که زنانی هستن، زنان شجاع و واقعا مبارز ایرانن که دارن دوچرخه سواری میکنن، در حالی که آقای خامنه‌ای فتوا اعلام کرده، منتشر کرده که نباید دوچرخه سواری کنن چون حرامه، چون باعث فتنه در جامعه منجر میشه و غیره. به هر حال امیدوارم از این برنامه خوشتون اومده باشه و تا هفته آینده به امید دیدار.
کیشه من و مامانم ساکن تهرانیم و دوچرخه سوار حرفه‌ایم دیگه. دوچرخه سواری جزئی از زندگیمون شده. کیش بودیم که این خبر رو شنیدیم که آقای خامنه‌ای چی گفتن در مورد دوچرخه سواری ما و سریع اومدیم دوچرخه کرایه کردیم که بگیم ما ورزشمون رو کنار نمیذاریم، ما حقی که مسلمه واسه ما رو کنار نمیذاریم. مرسی.
Hi, I'm Meriem Namazi.
And I'm Fariborz Pooya.
We're hosting a program called Bread and Roses. It's a weekly program that's broadcast in Persian and English in the Middle East and North Africa, primarily Iran as well. And it's also shown on YouTube internationally.
And we've been doing this since last May. We're coming up to our year's anniversary, and we've had quite a lot of fun making these videos.
We discuss taboo-breaking, free-thinking ideas. The Islamic regime of Iran has called us immoral and corrupt.
And that's why you need to support us. We are the alternative voice in Middle East and North Africa.
Of corruption and immorality. So do support us. Here's a short video from Patreon that explains how you can help us with even just $1 a week. That's nothing. Support us.
Patreon lets fans become patrons of their favorite artists and content creators. It's different than Kickstarter because it's not about one big project that requires lots of funding. It's more for bloggers or YouTubers or webcomics, anyone who creates on a regular basis. Here's how it works. When you become a patron, you're agreeing to give an artist a tip of an amount you set every time they release a piece of content, whether it's a new song, a video, or a recipe. You can set a monthly maximum to make sure that you're always within your budget. Choose an amount, enter your payment information, and you're done. Becoming a patron allows you to view and post in the artist's stream, and in exchange for your support, artists offer additional patron packages, which might include monthly Google Hangouts, music production tutorials, pre-sale concert tickets, or anything they can offer as a way to say thanks. Patreon, empowering a new generation of content creators.